We are on the internet. We are on the World Wide Web. It is www.vmcplanetradio.co.za.
VMC Planet Radio, number one. You're gonna get it.
You are now tuned into VMC Planet Radio Beyond Tomorrow.
So you are here at VMC Planet Radio with Mr. Stan. Dr. Mathebula, good evening, and how are you doing?
Hi, Mr. Stan. I'm well and good. Unfortunately, I can't see you.
Oh, you can't see me. Let me try and see.
I can hear you. But I can hear you.
Let me try and make sure that you can be able to see me. Dr. Mathebula, let me ask you a question if you know, right? It's not a trick question. So a Rasta man went to a bank, Dr. Mathebula, with a bag of marijuana. And what do you think he said to the bank teller?
I'll greet him in his own language. I'll say ahoy.
You will say ahoy, and then he say ahoy, yeah, man. And then you say, hey, what are you doing with that thing, man? And then that thing. I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bag of marijuana. Do you know how he will respond though?
Yeah.
So he took the bag and handed it over to the bank teller, and then the bank teller, he says, hey, what are you doing with that thing, man? He said, hey, man, I'm coming here to open a joint account, man. So he actually had what is called reggae, my lighties, Dr. Mathebula. It's a very interesting day today. We are, it is Sunday. We are broadcasting live right from Johannesburg Athletic Stadium, where, we are dishing and dropping knowledge, as they will say. But today we are talking about something very interesting, how parents can enhance their children's self-esteem, Dr. Mathebula.
Yeah, Stan, I think to the listeners, we have to say to our listeners that our program is no longer what we used to do. What was the name of the program? Matters of the Heart.
Yes.
But it's human growth. I think it's more holistic. It's a different program altogether. And I think our listeners are still expecting what we discussed during Matters of the Heart. But now this is human growth. It's more broader than what we used to do.
It's human growth. We grow people here. And, the way we actually have our topic is for us to be able to, if you can allow me to use the language, I will say, to unleash knowledge so that we can be able to grow from it, right?
You are on fire. You are on fire, Stan.
Yeah. So, Dr. Mathebula, we need to actually describe now, because our topic is how parents can be able to enhance their children's self-esteem. Now, the question that one will ask is, what is self-esteem?
Well, self-esteem is the experience of being competent to cope with the basic challenges of life and being worthy of happiness. In simply put, it is the confidence in the efficacy of our mind and our ability to think. In other words, self-esteem is that confidence that one has in order to deal with life challenges, if I have to put it in a layman's language.
Now, when you observe many parents, Dr. Mathebula, are they doing a good job in developing their children's self-esteem?
No, I think as parents, we commit a lot of mistakes in terms of self-esteem. We crush our children's self-esteem. And I could actually highlight a lot of examples where, parents have actually crushed the person's self-esteem. And once you crush a person's self-esteem, it will be very difficult to resurrect such a self-esteem.
So, for example, Dr. Mathebula, when we talk about human beings, because we use language, we talk to our kids, somehow we are able to either destroy the self-esteem or actually be able to build it up. Do you think animals have got a way of developing their offspring's self-esteem?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, self-esteem is confidence, to deal with life challenges. For example, animals are good at passing self-esteem to their offspring. For example, an eagle will teach the eaglet how to fly, and a duck will teach a duckling how to swim. These animals prepare their offspring for life challenges without crushing their self-esteem. For example, if you look at drug addicts or alcoholics, are people whose self-esteem was crushed, or eroded, and then maybe by teachers, by their parents, by their neighbors, by their friends, by their lovers, and then the rehabilitation simply means the restoration of self-esteem.
And these people that goes to, for instance, they've taken drugs or any other substance, and we obviously see them going to places like rehabilitation center. So when they go there, are we trying to repair the self-esteem?
Absolutely, it's the restoration of the self-esteem. For example, as a person, I grew up having a very low self-esteem because my younger sister was very brilliant, and my father would say talent, and then she was sort of a person who was really lionized in the family. And then as a result, I ended up having a very low self-esteem because the other person was receiving more praise, and she was known to be very brilliant at school and blah, blah. And she was. And then as a result, I had a very low self-esteem, but it had to be restored.
It had to be restored, Dr. Mathebula. But let's talk about perhaps us as adults now. Do we find that we actually negate our children's feeling knowingly or unknowingly?
Oh, yeah, today, wittingly or unwittingly. Today you are on fire, Stan. We crush our children's self-esteem without even knowing. For example, let me give you an example. A child says to you, Mom, I'm tired. And the mom says, rubbish. You have had a very good night's sleep. Why are you saying that? And then by not trying to understand what your child is actually saying, you are crushing the self-esteem of that child. Say now, or maybe your son says, Dad, I'm afraid of the dark, and you say, no. Why? What kind of a boy are you? Why are you afraid of the dark? You are a weakling. You are by so doing, by not understanding the feelings of or maybe the feeling how your child feels, you are crushing the self-esteem of a child. And as I said, self-esteem is like a sheet of glass. Once you break it, you can't mend it. You can't mend it anymore.
Once you break it, you cannot be able to mend it, Dr. Mathebula. So let's say now a child goes to the parents or, to brothers and sisters and say, you know what, I've got such a dream, and in my dream, this is what is actually going to happen, and I've got such a very, very big dream. Now, what is it that we need to do in order not to crush that particular dream, Dr. Mathebula?
Yeah, I think there are some few suggestions for parents. Firstly, parents have to repent in terms of the way they talk to their children. The first thing is repentance. You need to reflect and say, what is it that I've done to crush my child's self-esteem? The same applies to teachers. At times, teachers in class, they would actually say to a learner, by so doing, you are crushing a person's self-esteem. And the example that I give, there's a doctor, Ben Cousin. He's a leading neurosurgeon, worldwide. He's a Black American. He was the dullest learner in class. And his teacher improved his self-esteem. And one day he said, you passed, you have actually received 90% in the test. And his outlook changed because there was self-affirmation. And your question is that, what is it that boosts our children's self-esteem? Or maybe not to crush it. Maybe that was a question. Okay, number one, when you talk to your child, be present to their experience. Listen actively and offer appropriate feedback. Be a good listener. often we say to children, pay attention. But even as parents, we have to pay attention. And then maintain a tone of respect. Do not use a sarcastic or blaming tone. Just respect. And then describe undesirable behavior without blaming. If a child has done something and said, what you did is wrong, and then these are the consequences. And then teach that errors and mistakes are opportunities for learning. It is said that mistakes are part of the learning curve. Because more often than not, as parents, when children commit mistakes, we go off the tangent. Hey, why did you do that? Hey, you're stupid. Hey, what? Yeah. Also managers, it is for managers as well. If there are some people who are actually reporting to you, you must actually understand that mistakes are part of the learning curve, but they should not be repeated. And exemplified what you'd like to see in your children. Tell the truth and keep promises. Don't say to them, be early, for appointments, where else you are 1 hour late. You need to be an example to your kids. And invite your child to give you feedback on what kind of a parent are you. Your child must put you on the spotlight and say, this is my view about you as a parent. Yeah. And then communicate that self-responsibility is expected and create opportunities for it. That's what I can actually say for parents to boost your children's self-esteem.
So if you commit a mistake, Dr. Mathebula?
If you commit a mistake, as I say, mistakes are part of the learning curve. When a child commits mistakes, you need to correct that mistake. You need to give feedback. And then feedback is very important. When a person does something wrong, you give positive feedback. When a person does something unacceptable, you give negative feedback with guidance. The worst thing you could do to an individual is to deprive of that person feedback.
And if I make a mistake myself, then I have to deal with it, admit, and then apologize, Dr. Mathebula.
Yeah, as parents, we have to do that because we are not perfect. Maybe some of the parents are listening. They've been crushing their children. And then now, once you crush a person's self-esteem, it's a tragedy. That's what someone said. The tragedy of life is not death, but dying inside whilst you live. In other words, when you crush your children's self-esteem, that child will be living, but dead inside. That's why, children, resort to things like, alcohol as well as drugs. Because why? Their self-esteem has been eroded. Now,
in the Bible, we also have Joseph, whose dream was actually crushed when he told his father.
Yeah, he told the patriarch, Jacob, that he had a dream, and then in the dream, his brothers and all, they bowed down to him. And Jacob was very angry and said, who are you? That I should bow down to you. And at times when I look at that thing, that's why God had to actually make it a point that he went to Egypt, because his self-esteem was crushed. Now God actually took him out of Canaan into Egypt so that he can boost his self-esteem, because his father and his brothers had crushed his self-esteem.
And his dream there were not going to be realized, hence him going to a different environment.
Yeah, to a different environment with a different energy. Jacob was not even aware that he was crushing his son's self-esteem. And he was only 17 when his father responded to him like that.
Now, very interesting, Dr. Mathebula. Often than not, I know there's a saying that, if you've got a dream and you want to do something, the quickest way of killing that dream is when you tell a dream to a naysayer, Dr. Mathebula.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have got a dream or an idea, but what you must understand that a dream or an idea goes through a process. Firstly, when you tell people about your dream or your vision or what you want to do, firstly, it is ridiculed. Secondly, it is rejected. And finally, accepted.
Very interesting, Dr. Mathebula. And today we, because we always have this in this segment, an advice that we have to give now, Venice, because we are from Mars, we want to give advice to Venice.
Yeah, wisdom from Mars to Venus. Firstly, treat him kingly by creating a throne in the house where he would always sit, and no one should sit on his throne. Now, in other words, when I come to your house, then there must be your chair to symbolize that you are the king of the house, and no one should sit on the chair. Now, your woman must actually create that throne. Your girlfriend, even if maybe you live in a room, when you visit your girlfriend, she must actually make it a point that there is a throne for you in that room. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you live in a mukuku or what, create a throne for him.
In that particular place, Dr. Mathebula.
Absolutely.
And then we always give two. The second one?
Call him during the day by apologizing that, I know, dear, that you are busy, but I just called to say I love you.
Reminding me of the song that called which with the lyrics, I just called to say I love you.
Absolutely.
These advices, are very interesting, Dr. Mathebula. Somebody, met me and say, I want to know what you actually have today. I said, no, I don't know, because Dr. Mathebula always come up with this thing. He's a very interesting man. He is a philosopher, Dr. Mathebula, I'm just laughing because I'm not sure if you've ever been told that you are a philosopher,
No, it's for the first time. I didn't know. And if I am, I take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment, Dr. Mathebula. I know sometimes I also say something very philosophical like you do, but I know I'm not a philosopher.
You are. I think you are more than that. I think you have got, Solomonic wisdom as well as prophetic foresight.
Prophetic foresight, Dr. Mathebula.
Solomonic wisdom.
Dr. Mathebula, I would like to say thank you so very much for coming through, joining me on the program religiously. So, Dr. Mathebula, and I know next week, irrespective of wherever you are, we're living in an era of technology, the internet, Dr. Mathebula. That's why we can be able to connect virtually. I can be able to see you. You can see me. What is actually happening in the studio, Dr. Mathebula. We are in the land or in the world where everything is actually possible, Dr. Mathebula.
Yeah.
Okay, you wanted to say something before I continue here.
But then I can see you, and our listeners, I can't see them. But the message that I want to drive to them is that please make it a point that you don't crush your children's self-esteem. You need to build it up. And let's see what's going to happen to them, because let us give them confidence.